Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with his good friend Matt, the lumberjack landlord. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing super awesome. One was fun. Let's do two.
Yeah, one was fun. Let's do two. So, hey, one of the things I wanted to talk about with you is I think it's very clear that the housing market for the next couple of years is it's not going to be running as smooth as it should be, right? As I've said, the Fed broke housing. We don't need to go there again. They just did. But to me, that means there are parts of the market that are really exposed to a lot of pain. So I thought we should play some ping pong, go back and forth, and talk about those areas. You're the guest. I will let you go first. What are one of the areas you think are set up for a lot of pain?
You're nothing if not a gentleman, Michael.
Oh,
I think it is the supporting cast
yeah.
that is in the most trouble. Because I think as I look at it, agents, you can be a buyer's agent, you can be a seller's agent, you're going to be whatever agent you need to be right now. But I think that they can also go into rentals. They can go into foreclosures. They can go into other things. And so as much as everyone says all real estate agents are screwed, all the stupid ones are screwed, all the lazy ones are screwed. If you're a worker and a grinder, guess what? You're going to make a lot of money. And you're going to make even more money because a lot of these people haven't set any of that network up. So you better get cracking now and do it now. But the people that are going to get crushed, mortgage brokers, crushed. Home inspectors, crushed. Like a lot of so landscapers won't be as much because banks actually contract with them to take care of the properties. But like general maintenance guys and certainly construction crews, those guys are going to get crushed.
Well, that and remodelers, anything, again, if you're in an industry that benefits from lots of housing transactions and we see half as many transactions, kind of writing on the wall, right? So that's one. The one that I actually think is most at risk is I think Airbnb. I think a lot of people again, if you're doing Airbnb right, like Anna Kelly does, kind of the top A properties, you're going to be fine. I'm not talking to those. I'm talking about all the newbies that ran to Airbnb because it was easy money. The thing that I've learned about real estate in 22 years is every now and again, there's this new widget, this new toy people play with. Sure. And, a couple of people have success, then they market it. More people come in. They probably have medium success. And then the wave comes, the stupid money comes, you cut corners, you down select, and you lose your ass. So I think there's a lot of kind of second tier cities, a lot of second tier properties that people are going to lose money. In my world, that's an alligator. They're going to, and they bought them so high that they don't make sense as monthly rentals. So I think there's going to be a lot of people trying to desperately sell, which is going to impact some markets more than others. But yeah, I think there's some Airbnb concentration it just has to reverse, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the next people that suffer are the older landlords.
Ooh.
I think the older landlords suffer because they didn't raise the rents. Now they're going to be trying to raise the rent in the flight of all of these crazy cost increases. They might try to increase rents now. The quality of tenant has been drastically reduced. We actually looked at the numbers on the latest unit that we posted. It was a 3-bedroom. We had about 100 applicants in a week and 17 of them met the credit requirement.
Wow.
Only 17. So call it 17% of them met the credit, and our credit requirement is 680. So it's not
720, right?
It's not 720. It's not 700. So I think the older landlords, now they can turn it around. They can sell, or they can do a sub-2, or they can do our seller-based financing. They have some outs.
Yeah, they have some
But
outs.
to continue as a landlord will be really, really hard because the quality of tenant is pretty bad.
Yeah. I think one of the most unfortunate places where the pain is coming. So I think Airbnb is first, but I think right behind it are what's called limited partners or LPs inside of syndications. I got to tell you, man, there are some LPs that already lost their money. It's already gone and they don't even know it yet. Right. It's like, oh, I bought this 100 unit or 400 or 1,000 units. I got, it's at a 4 cap. I got bridge debt of 1 year, and don't worry, we're going to value add. And so, I mean, what are you doing? Right. There's so many people that got lucky the last 2 years
Mhm.
and they just keep moving their chip to the center of the table. It's a very addictive thing. And the casino is going to come calling. And now, not all. I'm by no means saying all. I'm just saying too many. There are too many LPs that over the next 12 to 18 months are going to reach out to us and say, I lost it all. Or worse yet, they came calling for a capital call and I told them to F off. Then
Right.
they lost it. So, yeah. So let's do one more. Because again, I think there's a bunch of pain coming. It's definitely in parts of the market. You got one more?
Yeah. Commercial.
Oh, yeah.
Commercial. So I talked to one of my banks. They have a team of basically brokers. In the last 30 days, they have done 0 applications.
Wow.
0. It's not a tiny team. And they've done 0.
Now, just so people know, when you say commercial, that's everything: multifamily, office, retail, everything.
It's everything. It's basically anything 5 units and greater. They have done 0 applications, nothing.
So that just tells you that, because again, that market is very interest rate sensitive, right? Shorter terms, you have to, 25-year AMs, not 30. It's just so many differences that people don't see. What you really have is you have a push and pull between price and expectations. I think it was Rod Khleif. He talked about he was already in contract, and because rates got him, he has to retrade and lower like $10 million or something. Yeah. All of this is happening right now. So yeah, I think commercial is going to soften. It's just interest rate sensitive.
It's soft like puppy poo after a week of rain.
Oh,
it is not. Yeah,
not good.
It is not.
We're not picking that up, honey.
Exactly. No one wants, babe, nuclear winter is the next time I touch that thing. Like,
that's right.
This is what we're looking at. And so I look at it from a commercial perspective. And what's really interesting is I said, let me ask you a question. And this is a rude question and you don't have to answer it. It's like, go ahead. And I said, seeing as how you have literally nothing to do, what are you doing now? He goes, I was like, I know you don't want to answer it, but I already know the answer. So if you tell me, I'm just going to tell you I already knew the answer. Right. He goes, yeah, we're looking through all of the loans that reset in the next 6 months.
Yeah, of course.
Because they're going to go from they're going from the mid 3s to the 7s.
Yeah, think about that. Again, that's why I think LPs are crushed.
Right. But if you these are things that were bought. Think about this. These are things that were bought in 18 because it's 5-year debt largely. Yeah. Right? So these are things that were bought in 18. 18, you're just getting the asset, you're putting money into it, you're getting it up to speed. Then you finally get a tenant in 19. Then pandemic, everything working from home. And now they're finally starting to come back to the office in limited share. And your debt's going to completely restructure and likely raise your payment 60%.
Again, this is opportunities for folks that have relationships. Go meet these bankers. I'm going to send another note to a couple of banks that I worked with this morning saying, hey, just so you know, I'm out here. Let me know if there's somebody in trouble. And
real quick, Mike, can you just talk about that a little bit? Because I don't think people understand. That bank is not going to come to you and say, I need $5 million. They're going to come to you and say, we just want you to assume the paper, the responsibility for the product.
Yeah. So I've done almost 50 units this way in the last crash. All you have to do is be a performer. I'm trying to be accurate. I bought an 18 and a 10, nothing. And then I got the 10 next door. I had to put $50K in escrow for the repairs, I had to do it anyway. Right. And all of them gave me the debt. All of them whacked the rate. Because again, banks don't want to operate this stuff, especially if it's in rough shape, like 2 of my 3. Yeah. They're like, get this off the books. This is a liability. This is bad.
Yeah. It was a bad asset, but they lended against it because the market was going insane. Yeah. Because the numbers made sense. They made a decision based on the spreadsheet, not based on the actual asset itself.
Mhm.
So these are the areas where, again, network. I've gotten in front of all of these different people and said, if you have that underperforming asset and you just need someone to assume the loan, at least let's have a conversation about it. There might be, Mike, I might get into 100 unit that way.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, the biggest I looked at last time, and maybe it's just because I didn't have the scratch or the reputation, it was 40 some odd units. The more you know, the bigger scratch, the reputation. You've got 20 years on you. They should probably bring you anything. Right.
That's the hope.
Yeah, exactly.
I certainly call them enough.
This is awesome, man. Do me a favor. Where can people find you?
Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube and Instagram, and 11:30 a.m. live streams on Sundays.
Awesome. Thanks, man.